Good evening. It's 5:30 PM on Wednesday, December 4th, 2024, and this regular meeting of the Sandpoint City Council is now called to order in the council chambers here at City Hall, 1123 West Lake Street, Sandpoint, Idaho. For the record, I'm Mayor Jeremy Grimm presiding. Also present are Council President Deb Rule, Councilors Joe Aspiro, Justin Dick, Kyle Schreiber, Pam Duquette, and Rick Howarth. Under the city's adopted code of ethics and civility, as the presiding officer, I'm to identify law enforcement personnel serving as Sergeant of Arms. For this evening's meeting tonight, we have Police Chief Corey Kuhn in the back of the room. Thank you, Chief Kuhn. If everyone will please stand, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At our last meeting, I proposed free membership to the James E. Russell Sports Center as a new benefit for city employees. Action on that resolution was postponed till this meeting, and we will take that up under old business. I also presented a plan for a 6-month pilot program for a 410 work schedule for employees who do not currently have that option, where City Hall would be open from 7:30 a.m. till 5:30 p.m. Monday through Thursday and closed on Fridays. I sincerely appreciate all the feedback on that second item, and we'll be doing further analysis and survey of the public use of City Hall before making a decision on that. A couple of other mayor's announcements. We are now in December, so no parking on the odd side of the street. Snow clearing, that's really to make sure that our snow plows have the ability to appropriately clear the streets of snow, and we don't get cars sort of bound in by ice that for some reason were not moved. Further, a couple of other updates. Very importantly, Lady Liberty was reinstalled down at City Beach, if you're unaware, thanks to the businesses. I believe it was 810 Auto Body, is that right? That helped us with the painting and repair, so appreciate that. Further, we do have some signs up on Highway 95. If you're now driving north on the Long Bridge and you exit, you will see no truck signs. We also have signs on Highway 2 heading east, notifying truckers that Pine Street is not to be used for through truck traffic. And I believe, maybe Holly can correct me if she's here, or Brandon, I believe we're getting our reader board signs rolled out tomorrow, or maybe they were out today, to also notify travelers, especially truck traffic. So appreciate the council's patience and the community's patience as we've gotten all those signs coordinated and installed. We did have the turkey trot and the public opening of the James E. Russell sports facility on Thursday, Thanksgiving. It's a great turnout. Some of you were there, I know. Generally, the public got to come in and peek around and take a look at the facility. We'll get an update from Director Welker in a few minutes on other things happening out there. We had the Christmas tree lighting down at Jeff Jones Square. That was a fun event. Santa arrived at 6. That was a Chamber of Commerce event, and apologies to the public who was loitering around for about an hour waiting for that lighting to occur. We will do better work next year on messaging and noticing and audio. With that, one final thing, we do have some repairs taking place down on Bridge Street. Those piers are being actively worked on for that rehabilitation and preservation of those piers, again on the Bridge Street Pier. And you'll see some work on the lift station, specifically down by the Edgewater Hotel, occurring shortly. With that, I would turn over to council members for any council announcements or reports.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilman Schreiber.
Happy to announce that the Urban Forestry Commission held its inaugural meeting. Quick rundown, all members were present. We had a quick round of introductions. You might remember that Paige Belfry, who is a local business owner, ISA certified arborist. We have Jeff Gregory, who is also an ISA arborist and works for a Vista utility company. Preston Andrews, who is a PhD horticultural professor, former professor, and vice president of the Kinnicksu Native Plant Society. Kinnickinnick, thank you. And Chase Youngdahl, who is the noxious weed manager for Bonner County, was nominated and elected to vice chair. And then I think most people recognize the name Most Dunkel, who is a local logger. He was a longtime member of the Planning and Zoning and Parks and Rec Commissions, was elected chair. We had a presentation by legal about open meeting laws and ethics, a presentation about procedures, and went through the great handbook that the city clerk put together. Then we had a set presentation by our city forester, Eric Bush, about the duties and responsibilities of the commission, as well as some major upcoming projects. And then we topped off with a roundtable with some topics like the permitting process for pruning and removing trees in the right of way, the requirements for our Tree City USA certification, and just some brainstorming about additional revenue streams to expand the program.
Thank you, Councilman Trevor. It sounds like a productive first meeting. I enjoyed meeting all of the members, and I think with the exception of the ADA, American with Disabilities Committee, we are all underway and look forward to hearing what everyone accomplishes.
Say we're very lucky to have such a highly qualified group of people.
Yeah, no, it's really, it takes a lot. It's unpaid, and I should also mention on consent tonight, we have a number of appointments. Reed, Ellie, Wayne, and others who are either re-upping or jumping into this unpaid volunteer position. So thank you, those who are out there who are going to be appointed tonight, hopefully. Any other announcements or reports from council?
Sure, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilman.
The Arts, Culture, and Historic Preservation, we meet next Tuesday, but I did want to address the public here that the silver box art has all been installed on 4th and Church, 4th and Oak, and 5th and Oak as well. I think it looks amazing. So if you haven't had an opportunity to take a look at that, I was also able to attend my first Spot Bus meeting. Also a fantastic group of people over there. I think probably the most pertinent thing that we're working on right now is working on advertising on the busing. On the buses, potentially on the sides or the back of the buses to help bridge the gap from what we might be able to get from the cities and what we might be able to bring in as an organization. That's it.
Councilman Dick, I would just mention on that item, I know they'd gone down that route before. And there was the concern of if you accept any advertising, what if somebody takes out a big ad on the side of the bus that may be offensive to some? I would just encourage, I think our legal did a great job with our sponsorship and advertising. There's some really specific language in there that restricts the type of advertising allowed. And I would just encourage you to maybe bring that to their attention so we don't end up in a similar situation as other cities.
You bet. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good idea, though.
Any other council reports or announcements?
Mr. Mayor, I have the Sustainability
Woman
Committee meeting
Duquette.
minutes right in front of me. Okay, so Chair Wayne Benner called the meeting of the Sandpoint Sustainability Committee to order at 12:32 p.m. on Tuesday, November 26, 2024. Council chambers present were Wayne Benner, Katrina Pielli, Christine Moon, Deborah Dickerson, absent Diana Duke, Mary Wilco's. Also present were City Council Liaison Pam Duquette, Staff Liaison Katie Keeney, Board Clerk Samantha Branscombe, and City Clerk Melissa Ward. The minutes from the committee's October 22nd meeting were approved as presented. Old unfinished business, we were trying to determine committee's main focus, vision, goals, and objectives. Committee member Moon, thank you, Christine, presented her findings on sustainability programs in other towns and cities in the area. She will continue to research for the next meeting. The committee discussed their personal goals for the committee's work and objectives. Following this discussion, the committee agreed to further research and consider the committee's adopted main focus, vision, goals, and objectives before taking action to make this determination. This topic will be included on the next agenda for further discussion, and committee members were encouraged to bring their suggestions and ideas for this initiative. New business was to adopt a sustainability checklist item for the city items. Council Liaison Duquette mentioned the How Green Is My Town website as a potential starting point or reference for developing a sustainability checklist. The committee discussed devising checklists for each department or alternatively designing the checklist around the city's comprehensive plan. Following the discussion, the committee agreed to begin with a comprehensive plan. Chair Benner and Vice Chair Pielli volunteered to devise a checklist based on the comprehensive plan to present at the next meeting for consideration by the committee. Sandpoint wastewater treatment plant project. The committee briefly discussed the city's wastewater treatment plant project. Then the committee roundtable, they agreed to cancel the next regularly scheduled meeting because it's on December 24th and meet next at the regular daytime on January 28th, 12:30. Chair Benner mentioned some resources that may be of interest to the committee members. I believe he was going to send those out. And upon loss of quorum with the departure of Vice Chair Pielli, the meeting was adjourned at 1:35 p.m.
Thank you, Councilwoman Duquette. Any other council announcements or reports? With that, next, I will yield the floor to staff for some quick reports and updates from the department heads. Director Jason Welker, Community Planning and Development.
Good evening, Council. Got a lot of updates for you tonight. We'll try to be quick. I want to start with a huge congratulations to some staff members in the Planning and Community Development Department, specifically our interim, soon-to-be permanent building official, Pete Scon, who since he started in his current role as interim building official back in April or May after the departure of Christine Kuhlman, has been studying very hard to become a certified building, let me get his title right, certified building official, correct. And just this week on Monday, he received the results of his last two examinations, which are national level exams, and he passed. So he's now passed the 3 exams required to be a certified building official, and he's in the process of getting his official certification so that we can permanently hire him on as our official building official. Simultaneously, since we promoted Pete from an inspector to interim building official, we hired an interim building inspector who came from the private sector. He was a site supervisor for a local home building company, and that's Garen Wilson. He has been studying to become a certified building inspector over the same time period. And Garen also passed his exams last week to be a certified, actually his title is a little different. It is a residential plans examiner, which is a higher level than building inspector. So he kind of leapfrogged the building inspector role, but his certified residential plans examiner certification gives him the building inspector certifications as well. So we have an incredibly highly qualified and certified building department here now. They join Olivia Shoemaker, who is our, actually Olivia already had her residential plans examiner certification. She's also a certified building inspector, but she serves as our building permit technician at the city. So our building department is fully staffed alongside our planning department. Our CPD admin assistant, Krista Lester, is in her 4th or 5th week of work now, and she's also got some plan examining experience as well. So super proud. The mayor asked us this morning what our proudest accomplishments were as department heads this year. And I said, completely rebuilding the planning and building department's team is my proudest accomplishment this year, because we are as strong as we've ever been, and we're doing great work. So I'm really happy to share that update with you. We have 3 new staff members in this department. As of yesterday, we onboarded 3 new facility services representatives, AKA front desk staff for the JER Sports Center. Those are Bill Whitty. These are some names you might recognize, actually. He's a board member for the festival at Sandpoint as well. Zeb Stoops, who's a younger gentleman, and Steve Bradley, who's a local tennis player and sometime instructor for city programs as well. So we've got 3 staff, and we're still in need of about 2 or 3 more to be fully staffed. So if you know anybody who's interested in a part-time job working for the city, please send them our way. Daniel is actively recruiting and interviewing people for that role. The mayor mentioned, I'm going to share my screen really quick because I have a cool slide to show you. The mayor mentioned the turkey trot last week. I just want to do a quick events update. This is the return of the turkey trot to Traverse Park after it had to be relocated to Great Northern last year. And boy, did people come out. We had, I'd guess, between 300 and 400 people come out for the turkey trot. It was also an open house. We were able to open the community room and the lobby area and allow people to walk out on the courts as well, get a look at the sports center, and the response was absolutely outstanding. People were very excited. Huge thanks to Evans Brothers, who donated 200 servings of hot cocoa and coffee, which were wiped out very quickly because it was about 29 degrees that morning. The turkey trot was awesome. We had of course, the high school cross country kids were there with no shirts on, just sprinting, 3 1-mile laps around the course. Completed that thing in 20 minutes. It was just a great morning. Faster?
Yeah.
Faster
Oh,
than
yeah.
that? Okay.
16.
Man, yeah, it
16.
was impressive. Took me a lot longer, of course. Thanks to Heidi Bohal, the executive director of the Lighthouse YMCA. She and her team helped support this, and with their support, we raised 1,100 pounds of food donations for the Bonner Community Food Bank that morning. On the rec front, I want to thank Katie Bradbury, our rec superintendent, who has been continuing the non-school day programs. Monday, Tuesday last week, we served over a dozen local families whose kids were out of school, but whose parents had to go to work. That program has been going on at the community hall. It will relocate to the sports center later this month once the official opening takes place and we are able to host our successful and growing non-school day program out of the community room here. And that'll allow the kids to use the courts for recreation as well. On the progress on the sports center itself, since the turkey trot, the construction team has moved back in, specifically the floor polishing crew. I didn't make it over there this afternoon, but Daniel poked his head in my office at 4:30 and said the floors look incredible. They've finished polishing the floors in just 3 days. So those very rough finished concrete floors have now been polished and sealed. Or I should say stone ground to a 400 grit and then polished and sealed. So that's going to completely transform the interior when you walk into the sports center. Steve Geiger, Mayor of Ponderay, is busy striping. He finished the tennis stripes today, and his team has started taping the pickleball court stripes as well. So he'll be painting those over the next 2 or 3 days. He's supposed to be done on Monday. Curtains and separation nets go in on Tuesday next week. And since the floors are now done, Daniel and his team, starting Tuesday, will be on site unboxing all of our equipment, office furniture, refrigerators, tables, chairs, things like that. And we are set to open to the public for our first public event at 5:30 p.m. on Friday next week for the Christmas crafts in the community room, followed by Home Alone on the 52-foot big screen on Court 1. We're calling it a leave your shoes at the door event. We want people to bring picnic blankets and pillows, come and make themselves comfortable, basically replicate what we did across the street in Pine Street Park back in August. We'll do that inside. That'll be the first public event in there. The second use of the facility will be at 5 o'clock on Saturday when the high school tennis team is going to have their first indoor practice on real tennis courts ever in Sandpoint. And then we'll open for public play at 7 a.m. on Monday, the 16th, with a 90-minute community court time. That's the time where it's free for Sandpoint residents to come play, followed by a 2-hour pickleball drop or open play, I think we're calling it. We basically just kick off our regular weekly schedule on Monday, the 16th. And that gives us another 2 weeks to hire hopefully 1 or 2 more people. Otherwise, those 3 front desk staff are going to be working some long hours those first few days. So that's the update on that. Also at noon today, monthly memberships went on sale. This is something that the community has been asking for. We were hoping to have RecTrack, our new recreation software, up and running before we opened for play. That transition is not surprisingly going to take more than 3 weeks. They have to completely build a new interface for the sports center, and then in the future all of our other recreation programs and facilities and parks facilities. So we have launched monthly memberships on our existing recreation software called Rec One. Katie emailed me at 2 o'clock, 2 hours after they went on sale, and we had sold 17 monthly memberships, which is as many annual memberships as we had sold up to that point. So people have been waiting. We sold 17 memberships in 2 hours today. People are excited to get their monthly memberships and start playing in a week and a half or two. Yeah, let's see. Other parks projects. We've got the playground, safety surfacing, all of the accessible safety surfacing is being installed right now. The equipment is all done. It's fully installed and functional. I didn't take my daughter there to play in it the other day. She didn't have the time of her life. No, I did. She had a great time. She loves the zip line, and she wanted me to lead her on one of the 21 routes on the YOLO or YOGO. Maeve's going to kill me. Play structure, the main centerpiece of the playground. It's a fantastic playground. It looks amazing. Landscaping continues. The team placed boulders around the roller slide today. And Austin, our parks maintenance leader, is going to self-install the nature play area, which includes a bunch of custom cut wood features and boulders that are going to be placed there with a mulch surface. So that's the last part of the playground that's going in. The concrete splash pad is going to be poured on December 16th. Yes, it's very cold, but they can pour concrete in cold temps. So they need to get that done before they wrap up for the season. But we expect the playground to be fully complete and done around Christmas time. Of course, that's not including the splash pad, which will be turned on in the spring for the first time. So stay tuned for a playground grand opening announcement. The other Traverse Park project that I'm super excited for is the skate park lights. Backcountry Electric, local firm, did that whole project with an Idaho Gem grant, entirely paid for with an Idaho Gem grant. They could not get back in to finish the wiring until Summit Electric, which did the wiring for the Sports Center, finished, and they finished as of Monday this week. So Backcountry, they have a job right now, so we're not sure they're going to get in there in the next couple of days, but we're certain that by next week, Backcountry will get in there to be able to basically power on the switches that we can control the outdoor lights from inside. And by next week, I'm hoping to have a little, first ever night skate session with the Bonner County Skate Park Association and local skater kids. I know they're just dying. Right now, people pull in, they turn their truck lights on, and they have the headlights on their trucks pointing at the skate park after dark, and the kids are out there skating anyways. But we're going to have super nice, high-end LED, dark sky compliant lights by this time next week for sure. And yeah, the mayor showed you, I think I have a picture of it. Where are we? Oops. Austin shared this with me. Oh, come on. It's not going to let me show you. I had a picture of the Statue of Liberty for you. Oh, there it is. Reinstalled today, completely fresh paint job. The whole base you see at the bottom was custom fabricated. As I said to the team, this is now diving board proof. That was part of the problem. Kids were liking to climb on it and jiggle it and jump off, but this thing's going to be here for another 30 years and we don't have to worry about it now. Yeah, and again, thanks to Austin and his team. They did all the lights downtown. That was our parks maintenance crew. That's not outsourced. That's not private businesses. That's all the parks team. All the downtown streets were done by Austin and his guys over the last couple of weeks. The Christmas tree, that was procured by the parks team. They found it, they drove it down here. They used his homemade light installation rod to put the lights on that, and it looks beautiful. They just did City Hall today, so you'll enjoy those lights as you came in, I'm sure. And that's it for me. The last thing I have is an introduction of our historic preservation planner and arts and historic preservation planner, Heather, and Ellie Sussness, the chair of the ACHP commission. They're going to come up and share an update on the Paint the Plows project with you. If you have any questions, let me know. I can answer questions if you have them before they come up.
Actually, Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
real quick, Jason, because I did have a couple of concerned citizens. If you could just clarify, on the pump track grant that we were not awarded, there was a matching component to that. I had a couple of citizens that were concerned or wanted to know if the city had those matching funds that we could move over to something else.
Yeah, unfortunately, we never committed any funds to that. There was actually a $0 match required for that grant. So we had committed the value of the material, which in most pump track projects is the largest actual physical cost. And we estimated there were 6,000 cubic yards at market rates. That's a little over $100,000. So we put that value towards the grant, and then we had written in kind of in-kind labor contribution because we always do that. The parks crew has been helping with all sorts of parks projects that we've been doing. So it's really just having parks crew available to support the landscaping efforts and do hydro seeding and things like that, like we always do in parks. So there was no cash match, unfortunately.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, we have a regular park CIP budget for next year. And I did want to give you a heads up, next week's Parks Commission meeting, Maeve and I are going to be presenting some grant opportunities that we hope to pursue which you'll then hear about at a future council meeting. The grant, the Idaho Department of Parks and Recreation, which is the largest funder of parks projects in the state, their grant portal is open until January 27th, I think, this year. So there's a couple grants that we're looking at going for. We're going to present those at next Wednesday's Parks Commission meeting, hopefully get a vote of support for our pursuit of those grant funds, and then we'll bring any grant application that we're going to pursue to you probably at the January council meeting, because we won't have that ready by December 18th. So we are working with the Parks Commission meeting on the next phase of, grant projects. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilwoman Duquette?
I have a question. Are the new grants going to be for that same pump track?
No. That was a very unique opportunity because it was for outdoor recreation type things. It was actually the Outdoor Recreation Fund, the ORFAC Outdoor Recreation Fund grant. The grants are going for next year. If you look at you'll hear about it, but
It's fine.
the Idaho
I just
Department of Parks and Rec has 10 or 12 different grants that they administer. These include things like the LWCF. That grant application was due in mid-July. We decided not to go for it next year because it would have locked up our limited parks dollars through probably September of 2025. We wanted more flexibility, but they also include things like, without getting too specific, they're like off-road vehicle improvement funds. So for things like if you want to invest in OHV trails, waterways improvement fund, if you want to improve your docks or you want to improve a boat launch. So they have very specific focuses for the different grants. But no, there's really no grants that would apply to the pump track. So the pump track, Gino is going to be regrading that whole hill this week or next week before they wrap up at the end of December. And that whole hill will be hydro-seeded. So that's just going to grow in with a kind of a native grass seed next year. And it'll a seeded berm for now. In the master plan, it's still envisioned as a pump track, but until a funding source comes along, we have no plans to pursue the pump track.
Okay, that was my next question. What's going to happen with that big pile of dirt?
Well, it's being graded and seeded before Gino wraps up.
Okay,
And hopefully
thanks.
it'll be a good place to watch baseball games from or to sled on in the winter. Yeah. Okay.
Director Welker, I just have a couple requests. One, can you just give the council a brief, without going into details, brief update on what's in the pipeline? By my count, I think there's about 300 new housing units that the council will be seeing in the next month or two. That includes a PUD on Ridley Village, a conditional use permit up on Samuels behind the fairgrounds, maybe the Tribute Breaking Ground behind Super One. You're going to be providing a brief update, I think, on the hotel at the 18th.
Yes.
And then probably one of the more exciting projects that you can't go into much detail, but potential very large for our region new employer, potentially breaking ground on the corner of Great Northern and Woodland.
Yeah, so
Touch on maybe a couple
I
of those?
would encourage any members of the public and counselors who are interested in what's going on in the development world to go check out the planning microsite on our website. We have been, especially now that Krista's on board, our admin, keeping that current projects page updated with all the application materials for these larger projects. So we did just receive an application for a PUD the day before Thanksgiving, so I don't think those materials are up there yet, but in the next few days they should be. The PUD, of course, being in a planned unit development, that's a kind of a multifamily attached housing project in South Sandpoint. You mentioned Tribute. That's one that's well along in the pipeline. I think building permits are nearly ready to go out for that. There was some back and forth on their site plan. They didn't meet the landscaping requirements. Sometimes it takes a month from the time you respond to developers with their application, and then they get back to you. And that's the case here. We expected Tribute to have broken ground by now, but last time we told them what they needed to change, it took them 5 weeks to get back to us. So that was literally planting more trees in your parking area because we have X number of trees required. So that's the one just north of Super One. The mayor mentioned Samuelson multifamily. I think that's 135 unit multifamily development on North Samuelson, west of the fairgrounds, north of the existing multifamily there. And then, we're calling it Bulldog, I think is what it's known as.
Project Bulldog.
Yeah, those materials should be on the website now, Project Bulldog, because we just did public noticing. We did agency notice today. The signs went out on the corner of Woodland and Great Northern today. This is that 25-acre lot previously owned by Lighthouse Foods, which has been before the council on a couple occasions. There was a proposal to make that into a large well, they're requesting a rezone to multifamily at one point, and there was talk of a single family development. Well, that is now, it has remained an industrially zoned area. And the proposal that's now up on the website is a industrial project there. So if you're interested to see what might happen at that corner, I can't guarantee it's on our current planning page yet, but it should be. So I'll make sure tomorrow that any materials we've collected on that are posted on the website. So check that out. A lot going on.
And council, I mean, Director Walker, by my count, I believe that PUD is going to be around 45 units on Ridley.
56.
56 on Ridley Village. The CUP on Samuel is about 135 units.
135, yeah.
We've
And then
got
115, I think, at,
Tribute, which is north of Super One.
yep,
And yeah, so that's a couple, that's almost 300 new housing units. So then we also have Homestead
yeah.
next to on Ridley Village. Those three buildings, we're working on getting them
They've got 36
compliance.
units
That's
completed now,
36
and
units.
another,
So I just bring that up because council and community members, you know, we do have struggled with housing affordability and limited housing stock. We're looking at, you know, a significant increase, you know, that's almost 10% of our entire housing stock in town that we're talking about coming online or being approved in the next couple months. So hold on.
Are any of them considered affordable housing?
No, I guess Whitewater, we didn't even talk about that.
well, yeah, Whitewater is
Senior.
it's literally like federally designated
tax
affordable
credit.
housing development with 100 units that
Yeah,
have yet
there-
to be occupancy certificates not yet issued. That's the one on the ones just south of the one I just mentioned on Samuelson. They've already occupied their senior housing there. Those certificates of occupancy were issued back in the spring, I believe, and they're nearly done with the construction of their affordable housing development there for regular, you know.
I think
lower
that's
income
about
people.
another 80 on top of the other ones I mentioned. So we also have other subdivisions moving forward, University Place, out something called Boyer Meadows out by the criminal justice facility. So I guess if you're interested, check out the page. I guess the takeaway is planning's been incredibly busy, done an incredible job managing all this growth. And I think you'll see, obviously, the market respond to several hundred units of housing coming online. That we do not have several hundred jobs available in Sandpoint, I would point out.
And I can tell you anecdotally, prices are softening compared to what we've seen in the last few years. And that's not to say I mean, yeah, let's be honest, they are dropping, but they were also at crazy historic highs 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, I would encourage folks, if you're interested in this topic, go on realtor.com, select Sandpoint city limits and search for homes under 500,000. Last year at this time, there were almost none, maybe one. I think I counted 33 the other day, in the 400s or below. So,
No one's saying that's affordable.
no,
I'm just saying it's not the
no, but
same
it's
prices we
moving
thought.
in the right direction.
All right, I'll let the
I'm sorry, I missed, where was
ACHP crew
Homestead?
come up now.
Homestead is on Ridley Village and Highway 2 next to the dentist there.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Director Welker. Hello, Ms. Upton and Ellie, how are you?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. We are really excited to share with you all tonight the wrap up, and I guess the official wrap up, we'll see these plows going down the road. But we have the official names for the plows, but I just wanted to take a moment and celebrate Ellie. She's been an incredible chair to our commission, and I'm so excited that you're reappointed. You're always there to do any task, staying up at the odd hours of the night with all of your incredible skills as an artist and a leader, and we so appreciate it. This is a program that Ellie actually brought to the commission and said, hey, wouldn't this be fun? I've seen this in other communities. And so just as a little reminder, the streets team was fabulous to be able to work with us and get the plows cleaned, and Ellie put together a team and had the plows primed, and they were painted in the springtime. This was a collaboration with Creations. So it was really fun. They had their team of kids and artisans come out to help the commission and volunteers in the community put this creative project together. And then the paint was all donated by Miller Paint Bucket. And they've committed to donate paint and supplies to the commission with any community-driven art project. And we have that defined as we'll give you permission, and let's say the wall and the supplies and the community is the artist. So this is our first rollout with that sort of program. So just as a reminder, we had 5 different plows painted. The artist decided to bring them to life with fantastic faces. And so we felt like they needed a name. And so Ellie did an incredible job of going around throughout the community at different events and here at the city and at Miller Paint Bucket, and had a ballot boxes where people could vote on the names. And we had over 50 applications of names filled out, or ballots, if you will. So I'm going to give you the privilege of announcing the names.
All right.
So our first one.
Darth Blader.
Second.
Hans Lolo.
A little bit of a theme tickling here and there.
Fleetwood Mac. Cleopatra. And Scoop Dog. Of course.
Very good.
Very clever.
Excited to, and thank you, Ellie, so much. This has
Thank
been
you.
so much fun, and we're so excited to continue to bring creative vitality everywhere in the most unusual places. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, for allowing us to celebrate wherever we can. And when you see them, hopefully you'll have a smile on your face. And the Streets guys actually were the polling committee on the names, so it was really fun working with them. They're amazing. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Ellie. And thanks for your continued service, Ellie. Right, next, any other staff reports? I'm sorry. Wow, that was a lot. Anyone going once, going twice? Hold your peace. All right. Public comment. Next, we'll proceed with the public comment portion of the meeting. If you wish to speak and haven't yet completed the sign-up form, please do so and hand it to a staff member at the back of the room. If you'd like to speak on any item, including this evening's agenda, now is your opportunity to do so for purposes of a general public forum. You're also welcome to comment on any topic pertinent to the business of the city of Sandpoint that is not included on the agenda. Those attending remotely who wish to speak may raise their hands on Zoom at this time. I'd like to make everyone aware that the city does have a policy on public meeting decorum. These rules are posted here in the chambers at the entrance doors. In summary, I'd ask that everyone please be pleasant and respectful, not make derogatory statements about others, including city staff, not be disorderly and disruptive, no calling out, clapping, holding up signs, etc. Please note that council cannot take testimony on any planning-related matter outside of an official public hearing. Public comment time is for comment only, no questions or debate. You are welcome to contact me during regular business hours if you have any questions or concerns. Again, this is your opportunity to speak on any item on the agenda or on any item of general nature relevant to the business of the city of Sandpoint. This is the only public comment time that you'll be offered this evening. When it's your turn to speak, please state your name and whether you reside in city of Sandpoint limits. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes. And with that, Madam Clerk, has anyone signed up to speak during the public comment time?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Catherine Farrick.
Good evening, Catherine.
On.
Good.
Okay, I'm here to speak about the James E. Russell Sports Center. From the city website, it says fiscal sustainability, revenues from use fees must cover the building costs of operation. And I would like to start by saying the city of Sandpoint is already subsidizing the sports center when they allow 18-year-old and younger kids use the center for free. And by the way, an 18-year-old is an adult, is not a child. So I believe they should not be participating without paying, because the families, there are many families these kids belong to, could well afford the fees. And this is a subsidy, which I don't agree with at all. Subsidy. as frequently said, there is no free lunch in economics. Someone always has to pay, and I don't want to. Juvenile tourists, I believe, would not be charged either when they come here to recreate in the summer. They would be using my tax dollars to participate there. And if the city pays the fees for its employees, what's it going to cost? If you have 100 employees at $400 a year, that's $40,000 that I have to pay with my tax dollars. I believe this effort to subsidize the center is because the city realizes that the center is not economically sustainable in its present form. With only 4 tennis courts and 16 pickleball and 90-minute sessions, it doesn't take a genius to figure out the club cannot generate enough income to be self-sustaining unless it is subsidized. So before you come to me to subsidize, everybody needs to pay. Everyone. User fees must cover the building costs. Thank you.
And Catherine, I didn't catch, are you a city resident? Thank you so much.
Rebecca Holland.
Good evening, Ms. Holland.
Good evening.
Sorry I didn't get
Mayor.
back to you. I just heard your voicemail tonight.
Oh,
It was a busy day.
here I am. Good evening and good evening, counselors. Let's see.
And Ms. Holland, I know the answer, but for the record, are you a city resident?
I am not.
Okay, thank you. And can you reset Ms. Holland's time to 3 minutes so she's,
Is this supposed to be up here as close to me? Okay.
you can move
Hear
it.
you.
Can you hear me?
It bends.
Hear me now? Huh?
There you go.
Okay, here we go. Everyone here knows me except Councilman Rich. And so for his benefit, I'll probably provide a few full details. Because you will be seeing me. So for the record, my name is Rebecca Holland. I've lived in Sully Valley for over 50 years with my husband, and where my husband and I raised 3 sons, 2 of which represented the U.S. on the World Cup and Olympic stage for over a span of 16 years. At their national and international competitions, they always named Sandpoint as their home. For myself and my husband, Don, having lived here for more years than Ohio, where we were both raised, we too call Sandpoint our home. For 32 years, I owned a Sandpoint business, photographing students and their families. I know most kids aged 20 to 50 who were raised here. For 15 years of business, I paid Sandpoint property taxes on my studio building on Lake Street, and for 7 years, I served on a PED bike committee, chairing it for 5. I've given my fair share of energy to being an involved Sandpoint resident, though I do live in the county, so there is a difference. As I stated at the last meeting, I've never had any type of legal charges made against me until last year when false accusations were made by certain staff that trespassed me for a full year using a newly adopted procedure created to target me. The previous mayor told me that was its purpose. Now this city has a bad ordinance on the books. The county pushed it forward too, and it was tested, actually in court, in the Bowman versus Ahmet case, a case the county lost. So please let's clear this up by moving it forward and granting me an executive meeting hearing. I will be absolutely relentless in having my record cleared up. Secondly, tonight, I was so pleased to hear that Mayor Jeremy publicly said recently that city officials have learned from the Traverse Park fiasco. The takeaway for residents is you've learned a better way to communicate and have a stronger validation process. So let's start tonight with this agenda item to give a free membership to city employees. In your November 19 minutes that you approved tonight, council expressed a desire for additional public input. Knowing that, I posted this issue on the Save Sandpoint Park Facebook page 2 days ago. Of the 31 responses, not a single one made a comment in support of this proposal. In fact, the very first post from a resident was, "That reeks of conflict of interest," and I agree. In my opinion, from an ethical point of view, it should trouble you to give a free membership value of 300 to 350. I'm nearsighted. $300 to $350 in city staffers, some of which will be involved in future decisions at this new facility. There's the conflict of interest. I think a much better way for the city to encourage prospective employees is for this council to deal with the lack of affordable housing, which I heard being addressed tonight, which is wonderful.
Ms. Holland, can
Oh,
you
I'm
wrap
over
it up?
time.
That's okay. I gave you an extra 30, but just if you can wrap it up.
I will wrap it up. I was going to give Councilman Kyle kudos for previously floating some good ideas when he was running for office. So why don't you look in those concepts? And that would be helping the whole community, which would be a total win-win. And thank you for the time. I tried to read fast.
Anytime.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Ms. Holland.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask you something about that?
Uh,
I'm wondering what ordinance that is. Do you know? that she
Which
spoke
ordinance
of?
are you, the ordinance that it was references are public, I believe it's our public decorum, but we'll have to visit with legal to pull that. I don't know it offhand,
Okay.
which ordinance it is.
Thanks. Sorry.
Mr. Mayor, no one else has signed up or indicated a desire to speak during
All
public
right.
comment.
Excellent. Thank you, public, for your feedback, comment. Next, that will conclude the public comment portion of this evening's meeting. We'll move on to the consent calendar. We will now proceed with, for the record, the total amount of bills is $1,426,718.01, reflecting $657,780.68 for regular payables and $768,937.33 for payroll. Council, are there any questions or items you wish to remove from the consent calendar? I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dick, second by Aspiro. This will be a roll call vote.
Counselor Schreiber,
Yes.
Counselor Dick,
Yes.
Counselor Duquette,
Yes.
Counselor Rule,
Yes.
Counselor Howard,
Yes.
Counselor Sprow.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Old business. We have one item of old business on the agenda this evening, seeking a decision from council on the proposal to waive the membership fee to the James E. Russell Sports Center as a new benefit for city employees. On our last meeting, we did a poll of employees with some questions to ask the likelihood of their usage of this benefit. At this point, Madam Clerk, could you pull up that PowerPoint I sent you prior to the meeting? Could make that a little fuller of a screen and maybe in the bottom right next to the plus minus, hit the full screen, the one that looks like a tabletop there in the bottom right there. One to the right, two to the right of that one. Perfect. Voila. Council members, just a bit of background and data, and regarding that, I am going to do a better job to provide you with data, visual data during the meetings. I've had some great feedback from council members that's helpful for you. When I discuss this item, I am not a racket sport player. I have played pickleball twice, but it's not my thing. But I thought this was a relatively new and innovative way to improve retention, employee morale, and potential attraction of employees as we have some turnover. I will say that that issue has changed pretty significantly. We do have a Public Works Director application in, which I'm excited to interview that person. And we had a recent departure from our accounts payable in finance, and within a week, we had 14 applications. So the employment market is improving and the housing market is going down. So things are moving in the right direction, unless you're trying to sell a house. I did a little research. This is honestly 15 minutes of research on the internet. I simply searched for cities, employee benefits, recreational centers. So Gunnison, Colorado, part of their employee package, city offers benefits and memberships to the community center that can be used towards any pass, any membership, ice center, some of their other programs and facilities. So that's Gunnison, Colorado, just the employee. Next slide. Idaho Falls as additional employee perk. They offer, as you can see on the green box, access to park and recreational facilities. Next slide, please. So that's Colorado, Idaho. City of Boise offers as another benefit, community center membership. They get a discount, a reduced cost. I didn't click in how much of that reduction is. So Boise, Idaho. Next slide. Commerce City, Colorado, as an employee benefit, membership to the Commerce City Recreation Center at a discounted cost of $5 per person per year for full-time, part-time employees. Next slide. Laramie, Wyoming. This is, maybe I was thinking, oh, this is a Western thing. Laramie offers employees complimentary membership at the City of Laramie Recreation Center and discounts at other rec facilities. So they do it in Wyoming, Colorado, Idaho. Next slide. Salt Lake. Let's go to Utah. County of Salt Lake, employee benefit. Fitness Center, Recreation Center Pass. As a valued team member of Salt Lake County, you can take advantage of all of our county recreational passes for employees. With this pass, you can access the Fitness Center and the Government Center and all of the Salt Lake County recreational centers. Next slide. This is Minnesota. Wow. I've never been to Eden Prairie, but their facility is amazing. It's like a croc center, aquatics and all sorts of stuff. But regular full-time and part-time employees and duty crew firefighters are eligible for a complimentary individual community center membership. Next slide. And even in progressive California, they're starting to do this. City of Calabasas, Fitness Center Recreation Center program provides a complimentary city employee-only membership to the tennis and swim center. Next slide. So we did a little survey, sent it out to employees, all employees. We only got 30 responses, unfortunately. Question one, if the city waived the James E. Russell Center monthly membership for employees, would you be like to use these memberships at least 10 times per month? We had 4 employees say they'd use it 10 times a month, 26 say no. Question two, if you were to utilize your free membership, would you be likely to bring along a partner or friend to play with you? That person would actually have to pay because it's hard to play pickleball, I understand, by yourself. 14 said they would use it and would bring along a friend who would pay. So maybe you'd get some additional revenue. And then finally, 3, would you buy a $40 a month membership if the free membership is not provided as benefit? Only 1 said yes, 29 said no. So you're all intelligent. You can do what you want with that data. To me, this tells me that it's not a hot and heavy demand, probably because it's kind of an expensive, exclusive sport to play. When we look at some of the employee comments here, solid no for each and every one of your questions, would probably not choose to pay $40 a month for budget reasons. Not if pickleball and tennis are the only activities. Do not play pickleball or tennis. Do not engage in any of these activities offered at the facility. Do not partake in any of the activities this building provides. Do not wish to have free membership and would not pay for one. May give it a try, but likely not 10 times a month. Only interested in having someplace to walk in wintertime. That will be free to everyone. Not a tennis player. If I had $40 per month for fitness, I would use it towards a regular gym membership. Not 10 times per month, maybe 5 to 7. Would likely bring a spouse, son, friend. Would hesitate to purchase, but if provided as a benefit, would prioritize using it. If facility were a multi-sports, beyond racket sports, answers would be different. Would use free walking track. Would go otherwise more often, if not tennis, pickleball only. Do not play racket sports, but want to see facility succeed, so would likely get a membership or donate a membership to someone who needs it to use. Cannot afford to purchase, would not use, is currently configured for tennis, pickleball, would not purchase, use pickleball, tennis are the only sports offered. Would not have time to use, but if I did, I would bring a family member or friend. Would love to see additional discount for YMCA and arrangement with Schweitzer for discounted pass. Not worth the cost of membership. And then finally, disappointed in community feedback from council. Perception of benefits from feedback was false. Percentage of city employees with salaries near 90,000 is few, and insurance benefits becoming less competitive. We work here because we believe in what we do and love our community. So with that, I was thinking, yeah, let's just pull this off the table. Not a lot of people are going to use it. I'm going to let you debate that. We did come up with an alternative that other communities have used, which is adding a corporate pass to the fee schedule, which would allow the city to potentially buy 4 corporate passes, and employees could come check them out and use them. Overall, I defer to you. I'm simply trying to do something that helps retain and attract employees here, as many other communities do, at no out-of-pocket, no tax cost to the general fund, and have the actual residential and other users of the facility pay its cost. And those users, yeah, I guess to some degree subsidizing the effort of the city to run this facility. So with that, council, sorry to bring this to your attention, and sorry for any division it's causing our community. I appreciate all the public concern, feedback. With that, I turn it over to you for discussion, debate, and deliberation.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Councilman
that
Sparrow.
blue bracket, is that what you put or
No,
is that one of the?
No,
comments?
that was a citizen. I did not participate in the
That was a
survey.
citizen?
No, I'm sorry, that was a staff member.
Oh, cool. Yeah, okay. So I was gonna ask you what they meant by that first part, but anonymous.
It is.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilman Dick.
Again, thank you for everybody in the community who sent emails and phone calls. We got a lot of great public comment on this as well, too. It was great to talk to a lot of people. One of the things that was sent over to us was the tax code for this. And if we were to go through with this, it looks like the employee membership then becomes taxable income for the employees as well.
That's correct. Actually, one of those community benefits, they actually identify that this is considered taxable income.
Okay, thank you.
So I don't know if on that, if we offer it and they would have to take it up, and if they take it up, then it goes on their payroll as a taxable benefit. That kind of detail, we would have to work with finance and legal on, but I certainly wouldn't want to add a taxable benefit to someone who's never going to use it.
Sure. So it would be an opt-in is what I'm guessing then, legal. And then what about dependents as well?
No, this is
just for employees.
It's for employees, and it's minors. Director Welker, there's a statement there, 18 as an adult. The free access is for under 18 or 18 and under? Thank you.
Actually, that statement was incorrect. There's no free access for anybody of any age. It's free membership for ages 19 and under. Access still requires the daily user fee, which is $5 for tennis and $3 for pickleball in the winter and half of that in the summer. So youth do pay. It's just a free membership for youth, which again, they'd still have to go through the membership process, which they can do at the front desk through our website.
Thanks for clarifying.
As well as 65 and up, right?
There's a reduced membership rate for seniors.
Okay. What is that?
It's the local membership rate. So it's the $40 a month or $400 for the year compared to $45 for seniors non-residents.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Howard.
before you leave, Jason, so I was at the grand opening with James E. Russell, the son. And during his speech, he made a very important point that he wanted it to be free to the students and the youth of the city. Can you just clarify maybe more specifically what he was saying and what the intent was?
I did hear Jim say that, and I wonder if there might have been some miscommunication with him about the free for youth model, which is a free membership model. So, the city sets the policies and we establish the fee schedule. Jim wasn't really involved in that process, but he's been supportive of the principle of free access for youth from the membership perspective. And of course, there will be 90 minutes a day where it's free for all users of Sandpoint residents. And we do intend to make those community court times free for youth, no matter what their residence is. Of course, there's a lot of kids at the local schools who might want to come play after school if there's a 90-minute community court time. I don't, in my opinion, we shouldn't be checking residency of a 15-year-old who comes over from the middle school or the high school. So we do intend to make it free for youth during community court times, no matter what the residence is.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Spiro?
we heard a citizen talk about subsidizing with tax dollars. Can you maybe speak to that?
Well, I think the mayor's made it pretty clear that this isn't something that we're going to take taxpayer money and pay these
Right.
memberships. This is something that cities all over the country do. The school district does it. You're not paying more for your kids' teachers to be able to work out at the weight room after they teach a hard day at work. They're employed by the school district. They can use the school district's facilities. My wife's a professor, University of Idaho. I said, "Are you able to use the fitness rooms at the university?" She said, "Well, yeah, we have to pay to get in." I said, "Yeah, but because you're a professor, you're essentially allowed to use them, right? Whereas I can't just walk onto the U of I campus and use facilities." And that's actually the case. Yes, they are given membership to the University of Idaho sports facilities as faculty members. So that's, in my opinion, that's more like what we're doing. I don't think the school district is paying for teachers' access to the courts and the weight rooms. Because they're employed by the school district, they're able to use the school district's fitness facilities. If you're employed by the city of Sandpoint, you should have, I mean, I think what the mayor's saying is that should give you access to the city's fitness facilities at a member rate as opposed to the non-member rate. Of course, these facilities are open to any community members. You don't have to be a member to come play tennis or pickleball. You can come, just pay the non-member rate. So as far as the subsidy, I don't view this as taxpayer dollars going towards membership dues. It's literally waiving the membership dues for any staff that choose to opt into that. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilwoman Duquette.
And Council, I have some comments. All those other places that you shared aren't expecting memberships to help pay for operations and maintenance of their facility. I think that's a big difference. That was supposedly what the memberships are paying for, is to maintain and operate the building, which we need, so that it is not subsidized by taxpayers. If it's not a benefit for everybody, it's really not a benefit, in my opinion. I mean, if nobody's going to use it, or one person's going to use it, you can't call it a benefit if everybody isn't benefiting from it. Very divisive. I have spoken to a lot of people, and nobody seems to be, I have only had one person who said she sees, and she's a pickleball player, that she sees it's, okay, I just think it's another one of those community divisive things that doesn't need to be. I know that the employees here get discounted the YMCA, I think, with their insurance they already get. I think you get a free, you don't have to pay I asked the insurance person in our building, I don't remember who it is, Eccleston, is that his name?
I'm not sure.
Anyway, and not that and this has nothing to do with my opinion, my feeling of how hard our employees work. The staff is amazing for sure. I just don't think this is something that we ought to get into.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Councilwoman Duquette. And again, I do think there is an alternate solution, which is we could add a new fee schedule for a corporate pass. And we could simply buy a handful of those and make them available to.
And so then who does that money? Is some money out of that going to maintain and operate?
We would be
building?
buying a corporate pass, which would go into
And-
that fund. And then people could use the corporate pass, come pick them up, check them out, go use them, take them back, pay their $5 an hour with a membership to play. So there are other options again. Just wanted to throw that out to you.
Mr. Mayor,
It's a different.
Councilman Schreiber.
quick question on that. If we went that corporate pass route, then it would be general funds being used to pay for it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not talking about something that's revenue neutral at that point?
No, we would be using general funds to buy corporate passes from the city.
Right. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that if we allowed everyone to use it, then it wouldn't be a payable. But if we didn't and went the corporate pass route, we would actually be using general fund dollars for the maintenance of that facility.
Correct.
I saw a written comment that we received on this matter that resonated with me. It was, it mentioned how when companies offer perks that aren't widely used, it can actually cause more resentment than excitement. And looking at this survey, it seems like there's definitely more people who would not be excited about it than those who would. And so I guess my concern would be that we would be creating more resentment than actually creating a valuable tool for recruitment and retention of employees. And if you recall, last meeting, I asked if we were going to extend this to any of the other recreational offerings, like many of those cities that you showed did. It was not just a pickleball facility, it was an ice rink and recreational sports programs for your kids, et cetera. And I asked if that would be extended to Windbag Marina, for example. And as we all know, those slips are very popular and they sell out. And so if we offered those to employees, that would have a budgetary effect, right? Because we'd be giving a free slip to an employee, whereas somebody else would have definitely paid for that, right? So that's kind of how I see this. It's either something that very few people are going to use, in which case it would have very little effect in terms of retention and recruitment, or it's something that would be very useful, in which case it would have a budgetary effect because all of our employees are community members. And so obviously we're not going to get 100 employees signing up, but if we did, that would be, upwards of a fifth of the way towards our maintenance budget for the year. So it seems to me like it's a bit of a lose-lose, and our employees have spoken and said that they'd rather have something else anyway.
Thank you for your comments, Councilman Schreiber.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Howarth.
Two comments. First of all, let me up level the discussion a little bit more around what your intent was. I commend you for your attempt at finding ways to solve the retention and hiring challenges for this city. I think based upon your data, this may not be the gold nugget that we think is going to go help that, but I would encourage maybe further discussion with data on why are people leaving? What are the, as you do exit, I presume we do exit interviews and we gather all of that information. I would love to have that brought in front of the council with a more holistic approach of here's the challenges that we're facing. Here's some ideas and possible solutions so that we can look at things more than just in isolation in this one. But again, I commend you for what you're trying to do at the high level. I think that's absolutely what you should be doing, right? Trying to go strengthen the team that you have and the future team that you're going to have as well. That said, I do think there is an exemption that we ought to be talking about, and it is the employees of the James E. Russell Center themselves. Feels a bit odd that they're over there working in the facility and not able to use it. And so while the general population of the city chooses, or at least has indicated that they don't really see a real reason to use a facility, I do believe that your part-time employees and your manager managing that facility should have every access to that building and every facility. They need to be the experts so that when people come in and want to use that, they can coach them, show them how to use the facilities to the best use of that facility. And so I would be okay saying, hey, let's go isolate it to those employees. Let's go make sure that they're using the facility so they can show others how to go use it.
Thank you, Councilman Howarth.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead, Council President Rule.
So I've got a couple statements to make here. I concur with Councilor Howarth. I think the whole initial premise of this was that the employees of the center could have the benefit and be good employees by using that and showing others how to use the courts. These are part-time employees. They don't receive full benefit packages. They are going to make a very low hourly rate, less than what they could make if they went to work at Taco Bell. So
if you want to be in the center. The problem with only giving the benefit to these employees is that's not legal through how the human resources and employee benefit works at the city. So if you're going to give it to one, you must give it to all. That's how the rules within government work. If we just gave it to the Russell Center employees, then we would have to actually pull money from the capital budget, or excuse me, the general funds. So then it would not be revenue neutral at that point. So that would seem rather ridiculous to go in that direction. Although we have heard from the public, I've received less than 10 emails. Rebecca herself, who made a comment, said she had 31 people respond with negative comments. Last time I checked, we had almost a population of 10,000 people in the city of Sandpoint. So in my opinion, unless I hear from close to 5,000 of them that they don't want this, I am absolutely more than willing to put myself out there and give this benefit mainly to those employees of the Russell Center and anybody else who wants to take advantage of that. And although we have this city survey sitting in front of us, maybe when there's that one person, or maybe there's those 4 people, and they convince some of their fellow employees to come out and take advantage of that benefit. Something that's revenue neutral. Our employees do love the city that they work for. They work extremely hard. And when we can do something like this, I am 100% on board. And I would hope that my council would stand behind us to do this for our employees.
Thank you, Council President Rule. On another note, I was thinking some of the, we saw our health insurance premiums go up tremendously. I'm thinking, well, maybe if our employees are out getting healthy, that's a good thing. As in your field of expertise, being a physical therapist, do you see a lot of pickleball injuries?
No comment.
Any further questions, comments, discussion, council? And again, I apologize for bringing an issue that causes such debate and deliberation.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask legal clarification? If it is offered to the employees of the Russell Center, is that a true statement that it has to be offered to all city employees?
I was researching that as we speak, and it appears that it can be done where we offer it to the members of the facility only, but that's very much a knee jerk. I mean, that's 50 seconds of research. So
it says for a classification for legitimate non-discriminatory reasons. So we would have to articulate in policy legitimate non-discriminatory reasons based on just this quick look.
Thank you.
Councilman Schreiber?
Yeah, I think Councilor Howarth brings up a really good point that it's not just something that might be desirable for those employees that work at the facility, but also very much a job qualification. And, keeping up knowledgeable about the courts and the facility itself. So, there are definitely instances in the city where some employees get some benefits like uniforms or access to a vehicle or training, for example, that other employees don't get access to. But I think the differentiation is it part of their job with the city? And I would think that there could be an argument made here that using this facility is part of their job if they work at that facility. Perhaps we could use that as a reason to offer it.
If I may comment on that, also,
Councilwoman Duquette?
sorry, yep, they don't get any other benefits, the part-time people. Right? A
Correct.
part-time employee gets, yeah. So to me that, I could settle with that, I think, because of that. And they should be able to know what it's like out there, and that would help their job. Maybe help get more part-time people to work there to help.
Council, I'd entertain a motion for a 5-minute recess.
So moved.
Second.
Moving second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Returning at 6:50. Reconvening city council meeting December 4th at 6:51 PM. Council members, thanks for your thoughtful discussion. I think you all bring up valid questions and thoughts. I guess in closing, I'd just like to enter as well a couple things. One, we could modify the resolution slightly to make it for a 1-year period, during which, because this is new, we could track, measure the utilization data, come back, revisit this. The facility is funded for this fiscal year. It's a sunk cost. We've already accounted for operations and keeping it lit and heated. So we could pursue it slowly by doing it as a 1-year benefit. Secondarily, I guess the question of morale, it does appear that we may have the legal ability to carve out specific employees that would receive unique benefits after looking at some statutes there with the attorneys. But the question really is morale. If you offer it to some and not others, do you create a morale concern, problem, issue? So with that, if I were to vote tonight, I would certainly be supportive of trying this out for a year, but I doubt I will be voting. So with that, I turn it over to you. If there's a motion to approve the resolution waiving the membership fee to the James E. Russell Sports Center for city employees.
So moved.
Moved by Council President Rule. Is there a second? The
Second for discussion.
there's a second by Councilman Spiro. Discussion.
Mr. Mayor,
Council
I would
President.
amend for a trial period of 1 year to the original motion. And to collect data.
Is the second to the motion favorable to that amendment?
Yeah, we can discuss.
My motion's
And
amended.
is this the time to ask a question?
Yeah, so per our Robert's rules, we'll try to do this
I'm asking if
tight.
this is the time.
So we'll go around once a piece before anyone gets to speak a second time. So if you'd like to go first, Counselor Duquette.
I was just questioning, give it a year and then take it away? I guess that's my question.
Okay, this is your only time to speak until someone
Okay,
else
I
does,
have-
so
I have already-
let it all out.
Ah, so many things. I think I've said I think I've said my feelings on I would not give it and take it away. And one person wanted it. I don't even see that it's an issue for a benefit for employees.
Any other council discussion or debate?
Mr. Mayor, I guess I concur with Council President and Councilor Howarth as well to carve it out for specific employees, but I also do understand that offering that out to everyone. And I do appreciate your attempt for what you're doing for the staff. The staff works incredibly hard, and quite frankly, could work anywhere else in the private sector and probably get offers and probably get a lot more money doing so. And we know that they love it here. This was an incredible opportunity, an incredible donation from the Russell family. I think I would feel more comfortable actually seeing the James Russell Center open for a year and seeing what membership looks like, seeing what the usage looks like. Obviously, it was very contentious in the community for and against, and I won't be voting to take it as a benefit until I see at least a year's worth of data on it.
Thank you, Councilman Dick. Other council members?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'll just reiterate, again, I do not see a purpose in offering it to all of the employees, given the survey data that you had. And The only way I would vote for this is if we could again separate it for those part-time employees that work in the facility. Again, if I were to go there, I would ask for their expert advice on how best to use the courts and play pickleball, the rules, all of those sorts of things. And I think that would be a benefit, but I would not vote for general approval for all employees, given the low feedback from the survey.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to echo fellow council members as well regarding this. I think we could always come back to something like this after we have more data. Not only that, but what other ways can we benefit our employees? I have no problem with trying to take care of our employees. They do work very hard. I'm not sure this is it quite yet. And, reading the comments, like the blue section of disappointed in feedback from council, I don't fully understand that, but would love to understand things like that more. Like I didn't get personally a lot of feedback until very recent about this. So that puts us in a tough spot as well, just to move that quickly. Again, it's not against helping our staff. It's what's the best option for all.
Councilman Schreiber, anything to add, or Council President Rule?
I would just echo what has already been said. I think Councilor Dick made a great idea there to give it a year and then pilot this program. I think that's probably more wise than to pilot it for a year and then take it away. I would feel much more comfortable offering it to the employees that work there, and there is possibly a path to make that happen. But as it stands right now, I think that if we're going to search for ways to improve the quality of life for our employees, which I think we should, this doesn't appear to be it.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, so it appears that if it is okay with my second, I would rescind my amendment to the original motion. So we are back then to the original motion.
Is that agreeable to the maker of the second?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean,
Motion has been rescinded. It's now the original motion to approve the Russell resolution waiving the membership fees.
And my comment again would be that you've just stated that we've already paid for the Russell Center for this coming year. And again, I'm firm on giving this benefit to the employees. We don't have very many employees that say they're going to take advantage of it anyway. But we really do need those employees of the Russell Center to have this benefit, I think, to make the center function better.
Mr. Mayor, point of order.
Go ahead, legal.
We're trying to recall back to our discussion on this issue from a couple of months ago. My understanding or my recollection is that when a motion's been seconded and recognized by the chair, the entire council needs to decide on whether or not to
Amend.
the motion. So I think that is a roll call vote that goes to the entire council. And then one further point of order, just for council's understanding, is that the motion before the council right now is more or less on whether or not to grant the membership. Should the council make a decision on that motion, then they could still, today, they wouldn't be able to make a decision on that motion alone, but they could make a decision on a different motion that was made, such as granting it to some members, but not all the members as discussed. Alternatively, council could move to amend the motion prior to the decision. So they can make that decision as well. Just
Sure.
making everybody aware.
And just for legal clarification, it's possible, likely that administratively, we may be able to change the job description, address this as a requirement or a benefit that's provided in the job description. Is that a possibility, you think, at this point as well? For those specific employees?
Yes, I think so.
So barring the error on Robert's rules, are there any council members who are unclear on the motion right now? The motion, the intended motion is to approve the resolution as originally presented. Is everyone clear and good with that? Anyone not clear or good with that?
Mr. Mayor, yeah, I want to make sure. So we can vote yes to waive the membership, but then still make a second motion to either table and look and carve out for specific employees over there?
The motion before you right now is whether or not to approve the resolution that's in front of you.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
that's what you're
Okay.
looking at right now.
Gotcha.
We could
Gotcha.
accept that. right?
And it would be my intent, if this fails, to work with legal and HR to try to craft defensible policy and to allow those employees at the facility to use the facility.
Thank you.
With that, this will be a roll call vote.
Counselor Duquette,
No.
Counselor Rule,
Yes.
Counselor Howard,
No.
Counselor Dick,
No.
Counselor Sprow,
No.
Counselor Schreiber.
No.
Mr. Mayor, motion fails.
There is no new business. We now move on to executive session. So no new business tonight. And the final item on the agenda is an executive session. I'll now entertain a motion to conclude executive session pursuant to Idaho Code Section 74206(1)(f) to communicate with legal counsel for the public agency to discuss the legal ramifications of legal options for pending litigation or controversy not yet being litigated, but imminently likely to be
So moved.
litigated. Moved by Dick.
Second.
Second by, that was a tie, goes,
Tie goes to
Howard.
beauty.
Tie goes runner, come on.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, we
Thank
do
you.
need to take a roll call
Oh,
vote to enter.
that's a roll
executive
call
session.
vote.
Counselor Sprow,
Yes.
Counselor Schreiber,
Yes.
Counselor Duquette,
Yes.
Counselor Howard,
Yes.
Counselor Rule,
Yes.
Counselor Dick.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The meeting recording and online participation will now end. Those not participating in the executive session are asked to please exit the room at this time. Thank you, everyone, for attending this evening.